Okay, here we go. So this is the review sheet that you guys need to do for Monday's quiz. I have a feeling it's probably going to be a long video. So if you need to fast forward, you do so. If you need to watch the whole thing, you do so. Alrighty. So for the first one, we're looking to solve for y. Notice on the left-hand side that I've got some like terms. So I really can simplify this and say negative 2y plus 10 equals 36. I'm going to subtract 10 on both sides. I'm going to get negative 2y equals 26. Divide both sides by negative 2, and y becomes negative 13. On number 2, I need to do some distributive property, and the distributive property is going to actually go from here to here. So 13x, oopsie, so 13x does not get used, but what gets distributed is negative 2x and then negative 8 equals 8x plus 1. On the left-hand side, my x's can combine. I really have 11 x's minus 8 equals 8x plus 1. I'm going to bring my x's to the left. That's my choice. I'm going to subtract 8x on both sides. 3x minus 8 equals 1. I'm going to add 8 to both sides, get 3x equals 9. Divide both sides by 3, and x is 3. Remember, you can check all of your answers. You should know whether your answers are right before you ever hand in your paper. So you can go back and do a check. Maybe grab a separate sheet of paper, plug in the x values wherever you see an x, or the y values wherever you see a y, and then find your answer. This one, a little bit challenging for sure. Okay? What's happening on this one is I happen to notice that it might be easier to distribute in those fractions. Maybe not so fun, but not terrible. So we're going to distribute in the fractions. We're going to say, what's 2/5 of 15x? You can come on the side and say, well, 2/5 times 15 over 1. Well, 5 goes into 15 3 times. That really leaves me with just 6. So 2/5 of 15x is just 6x. And you can do the same thing for 20. We know it's going to be a minus. So I've got 2/5 of 20. Again, 20 goes, or 5 goes into 24 times. 4 times 2 becomes 8, and I get minus 8. A little bit the same, but maybe it looks a little bit harder. It shouldn't be. 9/4 times 8/3. Well, 9/4 times 8/3. 4 goes into 8 twice. 3 goes into 9 3 times. This just turns into a 6. So I've got 6x. One more time, and I'm going to erase up here. Now I'm going to do 9/4. Erase, erase. So now I'm going to do, oh, by the way, Teddy Sabato, how you doing? Not Teddy Sabato, Aaron Sabato, how you doing? But tell your brother I said hi also. So this time I'm going to do 9/4 times 4 over 1. These guys cancel out, and I'm left with just a 9. And then what I never used anywhere, I don't know why this little box is not going away, but that's okay, is I never used the minus x. So we now have, with distributive property, 6x minus 8 equals 6x plus 9 minus x. But on the right-hand side, I've got a total of 5 x's, right? 6x minus x. Now I'm going to get my x's to the left, subtract 5x on both sides. X minus 8 equals 9. I'm going to add 8. I'm going to add 8. And I'm going to come down to the answer of x equals 17. So let's see if we can see that bottom part. All right, so you're going to be doing, excuse me, some distributive property, working with some fractions on the side, making it to something that looks much better to deal with. All righty, let's keep moving on. So next question is going to be solve for L. Well, right now, L is being multiplied by W and being multiplied by H. The way to undo multiplication is division. I'm going to divide both sides by W and H. They cancel out on the right, which means V over WH is equal to L, and you're done. On 5, I want Y to be alone. I'm going to keep Y where it is, and I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. Negative 3y equals 8 minus 2x. Now I need to get rid of the negative 3, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. Your answer becomes y equals 8 minus 2x divided by negative 3. Okay. Next one, solve for y, and now I've got a equals x plus y over 2. You've got a couple choices here. You can clear your fraction, or you can say, you know what, if I make this thing a over 1, I've got a proportion. How do you solve for proportions? Well, you just cross multiply. That's essentially clearing the fractions anyway. That diagonal becomes x plus y equals this diagonal becomes a times 2, which we'd say is 2a. So then the question is, okay, well, if I got to get y alone, what's being done to y? It's being added by x. So I'm just going to subtract x on both sides. Y equals 2a minus x. And you're done. Shoe sizes, number 7, and foot length are related by the formula S equals 3F plus 24. S equals minus 24. S represents the length of the shoe, or represents the shoe size. F is the length of the foot in inches. Find an expression for the length of the foot in terms of the shoe size. So if I want to find the length of the foot, I need to solve for F. Well, that's not a big deal. What I can do is add 24 to both sides to start getting the F all by itself on the same side. So S plus 24 equals 3F. And the fact that I'm multiplying F by 3, I'm going to divide F by 3. So the answer becomes S plus 24 divided by 3 equals F. Let's keep going. Solve for G. Well, there's a couple ways to do it. If I want to clear the fraction first, I can do it that way. If I want to, I could actually make this thing into a different equation, which looks like a proportion. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually clear my fraction first. So I'm going to put everything over a 1, and I'm going to say, okay, well, my common denominator between a 4, a 1, and a 1 is just a 4. Well, 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1 times negative 5g is negative 5g. Minus 4 divided by 1 is 4 times negative 7, so it's minus 28. And then 4 divided by 1 is 4 times 23 is 92. I just cleared the fraction. That's all that I did. So now I can say, all right, well, let me add 28 to both sides. Get negative 5g, comes out to be 10, 120. Divide both sides by negative 5. Divide by negative 5. G equals negative 24. Let's go for 9. Distributed property. Here and here, 10x minus 30. Distribute again, here and here, minus 6 plus, watch your signs, 3x equals 2x minus 3. Well, on the left-hand side, there's some like terms. I've got 10x's and 3x's, so that's 13x's. I've got a negative 30 and a negative 6, so that's a negative 36, equal to the right-hand side. I'm going to bring my x's to the left. I'm going to subtract 2x, subtract 2x. 11x minus 36 equals negative 3. I'm going to add 36, add 36. 11x equals 33. Divide by 11, and there's your answer. X is 3. Alrighty, next page. Elise solves the equation negative 2 times quantity 4 minus 2x minus 16 equals 8x, and she performs the following steps. You can look at those steps. Is she correct, or did she make a mistake? If she made a mistake, identify what the mistake is, which step the mistake is in, and correct the problem. A lot of stuff happening. So I'm going to forget Elise for a second. I'm just going to do this all by myself. I'm going to take a look and see where she started, or what the original equation is, and start solving it myself. I'm going to distribute, and I'm going to distribute, and I'm going to get Negative 8 plus 4x minus 16 equals 8x. That's my step one. Does she have the same thing that I do? No, she doesn't. I've got plus 4x. She's got minus 4x. She did not distribute correctly. We found her mistake. So Elise made a mistake in step one because she did not distribute correctly. So we've already answered some questions here. Yes, she made a mistake, and we identified what it is, and we identified the step that she did it on. So now, and we've also corrected the problem essentially. I'm going to finish though solving this. So for us, if we were to solve this, let me erase this guy up here. We would combine like terms on the left, and we would say negative 24 plus 4x equals 8x. We'd subtract 4x, and we'd get negative 24 equals 4x. We divide both sides by 4, and we'd get negative 6 equals x. That should be the answer. So I'm just going to put down here, the answer should be x equals negative 6. But let's look at her work, and let's see if she finished the rest of it. So she got this negative 4x. So we're going to use her work for a second, and we're going to say, okay, well, she did combine like terms correctly. She got negative 24. She brought down her incorrect negative 4x, but that's okay, so she's fine. It looks as though she must have added 4x to both sides, and she got down to this correct piece, and she divided both sides by 12. So she's correct after her one mistake. Okay, so she's correct after her one mistake. The answer should be negative 6, but Elise happens to be correct with the rest of her work. So I think we're good. So we answered the question, did she make a mistake? Yes, she made it in 1, and we corrected the problem because the answer should be negative 6. All right, let's keep going. Okay, multiple choice. We're looking to show some work. We want to get x alone. So I've got 3ax plus b equals c. I'm going to have to bring b to the opposite side by subtraction. So 3ax equals c minus b. X is being multiplied by 3 and a. So undo multiplication by division. X should be c minus b over 3a, c minus b over, bingo, choice 3. Let's find x again. bx minus 2 equals k. Well, let's get the 2 to the opposite side. bx equals k plus 2, not 2k. We're not multiplying, we're adding. To get x alone, I've got to undo dividing by b. So x equals k plus 2 over b. K plus 2 over b, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's it. Let's try this next one. And let me raise this up a little bit. What does a equal? What's the equation? Looks like it's cut off here. So we've got x equals 2a minus b squared. Let's get the b squared on the right. I mean on the left, I'm sorry, from the right to the left. X plus b squared equals 2a. Get rid of the 2. A equals x plus b squared divided by 2. No. Yes. A equals p times, or p plus PRT in the equation. Okay, so it looks as though what's happening is, oh, t, sorry, they want to solve for t. That's what I was trying to figure out. A equals p plus PRT. Well, let's bring the p, this p, the single p, to the left-hand side. T is being multiplied by p and r. Let's divide both sides by p and r. A minus p over PR. Oh, here it is. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so we need to explain the following. Each of the following equations has the same solution as, oops, I dropped my papers, 2x plus 3 equals 13 minus 5x. Without solving, explain why these equations are equivalent. So if I look at A, it's 6 plus 4x. All the numbers got bigger. Negative 10x plus 26. I'm going to do something real fast. I'm going to use the commutative property, and I'm going to change the order of this. Make this 3 plus 2x, and I'm going to change the order of this. And let's see what's happening. To get from 3 to 6, oh, I just multiplied by 2. Does that happen for everything? To get from 2x to 4x, I'm doubling it. Negative 5 to, oh, I think we found the rule. It looks as though the original equation is being doubled. So these are equivalent. We know that already. The original equation is being multiplied by 2 or doubled, whatever you write is fine, multiplied by 2. That's why they're equivalent. This next one, I got fractions. Don't like that one so much. I'm going to come back to that, I think. This next one in C kind of looks like A, does it not? Except now you've got some decimals. So how do you get from 6 to 0.6 and 4 to 0.4? Well, that's 6/10 x, if we would read it in C. And 4/10, sorry, it's just 6/10. I don't know why there's an x here. This should not be here. So get rid of this. This really becomes 6/10 plus 4/10 x equals, in this case, this becomes, how do I get, so this becomes equals negative 1 plus 2.6 or 2 6/10. 2 6/10. Well, what happens if I divide everything by 10, right? And that should be okay. So let's take a look at this for a second. I'm going to erase this, not that x part, and I'm going to take the original equation. Let's see. So boom, boom. Here's the original, right? We know the original is, not the original, but equation A. If I take 6 plus 4x equals negative 10x plus 26. If I divide everything by 10, let's see, 6/10 is just 0.6. 4/10 is just 0.4x. Negative 10 over 10 is just negative x. 26 divided by 10 is 2.6. That's all they did. So they took equation A and divided everything by 10. So this one works because what happens is by dividing equation A by 10, you get, let's get equation C. So that means they're all equivalent, and that means C is equivalent to the original. Let me erase some stuff up here. Let's go back to this fraction for a second, and let's see if we can figure out how they're getting 1/5 x plus 3/10 plus, hey, they're kind of doing the same thing, right? If we were to divide the original equation by 10, by 10, by 10, and by 10, 2/10 x is 1/5 x. 3/10 is just 3/10. 13/10 is just 13/10. 5/10 is just 1/2. So you can divide the original equation by 10 and get the equation in B. So these might take a little more thought, but you can figure it out. So you just got to take some time and figure it out. So that's what's happening for 15A, B, and C. How about 16? Find the values of A, B, and C that will make the equations equivalent. And this is the same thing as the beginning anyway. So we got to figure out how we're getting from the original to this equation in A. And notice that 3 is turning into a 12, 13 is turning into a 52, and negative 5x is turning into a negative 20x. How are we getting there? Are we doing something that's the same to all of them? And hopefully you realize that, yeah, you're multiplying the entire equation by 4. So multiply by 4, right? If I multiply this whole thing by 4, I'm going to get 4 times 2, 8x, 4 times 3 is 12, 13 times 4 is 52, and 5 times 4 is negative 20x. So what's the value for A? A equals 8. Let's take a look at the next one. The next one, if I look at the original equation, I've got 2, 3, 13, and 5, but notice how everything in this second equation is over 3, over 3, over 3. I must be dividing the original equation by 3. Well, if I do that, it becomes 2/3 x plus 3/3 equals 13/3 minus 5/3 x. Well, this is B. B is 3/3. But doesn't that just mean B equals 1 whole? And that's your answer. Alrighty, let's go back to the original. What's happening here? Well, in C, I've got parentheses, and I only have the 5x, the negative 5x on the right. The 13's not there anymore, so let me see something real fast. If I were to do 2x plus 3 equals 13 minus 5x, and I bring the 13 to the opposite side. I don't know what just happened. Hold on. What happened? Here we go. And I bring the 13 to the opposite side. I now end up with this 2x minus 10 equaling to negative 5x. That looks very similar to this, except there is something in the parentheses where the C is. Well, to get rid of the parentheses, you have to distribute. What can I multiply by 2 to get 10? And you know what? It'd have to be a 5. So does that make sense? 2x minus 5 equaling negative 5x? And yeah, because if you distribute 2x minus 10, so C is just 5. These are definitely a little bit harder. You've got to think a lot more, but it's not something you can't do. Last but not least, we're almost there. Hooray. We're going to probably be about close to 30 minutes on this guy. Solve for x. If the equation is an identity, explain why it's an identity. If it's got no solutions, explain why it has no solutions. Let's see. Fractions. We love fractions. Between a 4 and a 6, I can get rid of those if I multiply everything through by a common denominator. 4 and 6 both go into 12. They both go into 24. That's it. 12 is the small, well, that's not it, but 12 is the smallest value, so I'm going to go for the 12, and I'm going to do math. 12 divided by 1 is 12 times negative 2 is negative 24. Minus minus. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 3 times 3, 9x equals 12 divided by 6 is 2 times 1 is 2x. And then 12 divided by 1 is 12 times 20 is 240. All right, no more fractions, thank goodness. I'm going to bring all my x's to the right. Plus 9x plus 9x. You end up here with negative 24 equals 11x plus 240. I'm going to bring all my numbers to the left. I'm going to minus 240. I'm going to minus 240. I'm going to end up with negative 264 equals 11x. I'm going to divide by 11. I'm going to divide by 11. I happen to know that negative 264 does divide by 11 evenly. If it doesn't, you're keeping that fraction. But really what ends up happening is you get negative 24 when you divide. My guys are not using a calculator yet, so I'll make the number smaller for you. We're using a calculator starting next week, though. All right, let's take a look at number 18, distributed property. So I'm going to start off with the left-hand side just staying as is, the right-hand side becoming 8x minus 12. Problem, right? Houston, there's a problem. It turns out that the 8x's are the same. The fact that the 8x's are the same on both sides is going to leave you with this false statement. 4 equal to negative 12 is not true. This is no solution. So this is no solution since the variables cancel out, leaving a false statement. All right, no solution. That's your answer. 2 more to go. We're going to get in, I think, under 30 minutes. Okay, next one. Let's do a little bit of distributed property. 3 times 2x, 6x. 3 times negative 4, negative 12. Let's do some math. 2/3 times 9 is just 9 times 3, which is 3, times 2, which is 6x, minus, do math again, 18 divided by 3 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12. Holy smokes, it's the exact same equation. It's all solutions, infinite many solutions. I'm going to call it identity because the equation is the same on both sides. Alrighty, last but not least, here we go. Fractions, oh my goodness. All right, let's see. I'm going to make this guy over 1, this guy over 1, and I'm going to realize that my denominators, probably the best one to use to clear them is a 10. That's the least common denominator, but any multiple of 10 will do. Do some math. 10 divided by 1 is 10. 10 times 4x, 40x. 10 divided by 10 is 1. 1 times 1, negative 1. 10 divided by 1 is 10 times 3x, 30x. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 8. I'm going to bring my variables to the left by subtracting 30x, getting 10x minus 1 equals 8. I'm going to bring my numbers to the right, and I'm going to end up with an answer here of 10x equals 9. I'm going to divide both sides by 10, and you know what? This doesn't work. I don't get to divide evenly. Who cares? Leave your answer as a fraction. If you want to go to your decimal, then you're doing 0.9, but I would say leave it as a fraction. All right, so that's it. That's the entire review sheet. Your quiz will definitely not be as long. I think there'll be some problems that are very simple. I think there'll be some problems that are more challenging. Okay, so you also have Castle Learning. You can work on that as well, and that should be enough. Go back to old homeworks, do some problems we didn't do. Whatever it is you need to do, you do. All right, I know you guys will do great. I've got confidence in you. Good luck. See you later.